that you say that. So just so that we can get started, because I
Okay.
feel like we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
with Lynette Greenfield today, and she is going to be one of the speakers on the publishing panel at the Logan
Mm.
Writers Festival 2023. So incredible. We've had in-house publishing and Turtle Creative over the past couple of years as publishing agents in Logan. But I am so excited to have you along because the international experience that you have, and the fact that you're curious about like what does the Australian market actually want speaks volumes. So thank you
Okay.
so much for joining me today, Lynette.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So as we were just talking about, the Australian market is one that I know is that they're very voracious in what they love leisure wise.
Mhm.
We have some of the biggest sporting events based on our numbers, and we also tend to read more, buy more books, buy more paperbacks than most people as well. The ebook market it's big, but it's not as big in Australia as paperbacks are. For some reason, holding a physical copy of a book still means a lot more to Australians, and about 71% of people, I think it was in the last survey that was done a couple of years back, 71% of people said that reading was their primary leisure activity. That was what they did to
Wow.
relax. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It was fantastic. And most of those people are reading true crime. So we know they're women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Whereas in America, I think the romance market is even bigger. So they lean more into romance. And in the UK market, I think it's still like mystery and romance are pretty even. Romance always tops the charts, though. Romance
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
just that
There's
that's the
always
big
time for that.
yeah, that's the big mama of all books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your journey from starting looking at publishing to where you are
Yeah.
now.
Well, I'll try and keep it short because it is a very long journey and one that I've um just been constantly reminded of how thankful and grateful I am for every person that has been on the journey with me. So I've been writing since I was 13 years old. I started writing the day my dad died. You know, there's always that
Mm,
trigger. My mum was a bit withdrawn, so I just found writing. I used to like sit in my closet with some pillows and blankets and just find this little space, and I would start
sounds like
writing
a
poetry.
beautiful
Yeah,
little
and
cubby there.
as a 13-year-old, it was something that no one can take from me anymore, something that I had.
Mm,
It's the typical healing process for people and youth. And then my mother decided to send some of my poems away, and I was published really early. And that just led into a love for that feeling of your work being validated in a way.
mm.
So I went through a really long journey of writing for myself, for the audience, and really deciding that I was going to write for me, regardless of sales or what was going to happen. And then I fell into self-publishing with a company in Canada, and I really didn't have a great experience. I wanted to be more hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be in control of changes, and I didn't like that somebody was um, guiding me but pushing me in a certain direction, and it just reinforced how much I didn't want to write for the audience.
Yeah. It's
Um,
funny that you say you got into a self-publishing company in Canada, and that you
yeah,
didn't feel like you had the control that you wanted, which is the reason most
yeah,
people go into self-publishing.
yeah. Well, I couldn't find anything in Australia at the time.
Mm,
Um, and then eventually I came across Lulu Publishing or Lulu Press, and they were quite new around that time. And they were just, their platform was really transparent. You could see everything you were doing, you had control over everything. So I decided to self publish through them. And um, one year I was invited to BookCon in America, in New York. And I got in contact with Lulu and said I wanted to meet with them and everything, and I couldn't find them. And cut a long story short, the following year, the table that I was at faced Lulu, and so we met for the first time.
Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, it was just sort of meant to be. And they took some of my books and we met and we talked. And then they asked me to come back the following year to represent them. So I came back the following year with them, and it was incredible because one of the years it was like one of the signings was with actor Omar Epps. Like it was a huge crowd. People were actually buying tickets to come and see me. And
That's incredible.
yeah, it was just incredible. Like the Lulu team are just behind you 100%. And they've just, yeah, they've been incredible. So then I decided, well, I came back and to Australia, and I went to a conference, sort of like what we're going to be doing at the Logan Writers Festival, but it was for Ingram. And there was a panel of publishers and the CEO of Ingram at the time, and they were talking about publishing companies and how they run them and all their printing and everything they were talking about. There were a lot of Australian companies there. I think it was like one of them was Clearwater.
Yeah.
Everything they were talking about, I already knew how to do. And I had this, my husband was with me, and we looked at each other and we didn't have to say anything. We just said, this is what you've got to do. And it was just this turning point for me because I could see that thing that I wanted. I wanted to be able to hand what I was doing to other people. Like, how can I get other people into writing? And so I started Limelight Publishing, and lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, Lulu contacted me in the US and said that they've decided to stop their part of the company that publishes people and partner with someone, and would I be their official partner?
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
that's amazing.
So I was then able to partner with them, and so I sort of signed people up to them, and they sent people over to me, and so we basically share our customer base, which is massive. So being able to go from an author to being able to publish and then utilize their platform and then also their printing platform, and it has been an absolute dream come true. So now I've been focused on publishing like special needs clients, and I recently won that award at Government House for that work that I do. So being able to give back to the community through it has just been incredible. It's been a long journey, a really long journey.
How long would you say this journey's been? Like, how many years has it taken you to go from beginning to where you are now?
I would say I feel like as of about 2 or 3 years ago was where I really, so I mean, I feel like the start of my career was when I was 13. I feel like that's when it started, you know. It really wasn't. But I feel like it's been 30 years. Like I'm 40 something now. I don't know. I stopped counting after 40.
Yeah, you know, fair enough. You
I'll
just
stay at
level up.
39. Yeah. And I feel like it's taken my whole life to do it, because I don't think in terms of success. Like I've got 20 books. I just published my 20th book.
Oh, congratulations.
And I've got 3 book deals. Thank you very much. And I just landed my 3rd book deal with Dymocks, and I've got a book signing next weekend actually. So
well done.
Nervous and getting my first Australian signing. And even getting book deals, which is something I'm really passionate about helping my clients with, because I mean that's sort of the ultimate goal for a lot of clients. I don't want to pigeonhole that, but it is something that a lot of clients want. And just knowing how to do that and knowing how to navigate the industry that perceives displays itself as being really niche, but it's kind of not. You just sort of have to know what to do. And if I had someone guiding me early on, I would be a lot. But I don't define my career as a success. I didn't really actually until I got the award at Government House, because the success for me is the giving back.
Yeah.
That when I got the 3rd book deal with Dymocks, it was almost like, not to undermine it, but it was almost just like another day. They were like, oh yeah, we want to put it on the shelves after the signing. And my husband's like, that's amazing. But for me, it was like, yeah, like
that's where the standard
cool. But
is now.
My mind's just on, how can I use this to help others? How can I use this to, but I did write a book on how to help people. And that one's been selling really well, like off the shelves at Dymocks.
Oh, well done.
So, yeah.
So what genres are you writing in to get 20 books?
Well, I started writing poetry,
mm-hmm.
and I quit that really early on, and I did
poetry is a very hard sell.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I decided to combine all of the poetry books that I had, I think it was just 4, into one book, and I put it out for my fans to tell me which ones that they liked the most, and that I combined into one book. And then after
just
that,
close that door again.
Oh, you're right.
Tyson singing opera.
Amazing.
He's not really singing opera. Okay. All right, I'll cut that out. The pajamas from the waist down.
Yeah, that's all right. It's to be expected.
Especially on a public holiday.
Oh yeah, that started as soon as the pandemic hit, right?
This is all that matters.
I'm all over the place. Like,
this is great.
Over the place with
this
what's
is fantastic.
Happened, and yeah.
So you've done poetry books.
Yes.
And then you moved into.
Yeah. So what happened was, my husband kept saying, I know you can write a novel. I know you can write a novel. And I said, no, I can't. I've tried. I'm not any good. I've tried. And then I decided to read as an ebook. I decided to read 50 Shades of Grey. And I got through the first chapter, and I just said to myself, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was that, I mean, it's a successful book and it's fantastic.
It's a very successful book.
Yeah, but I just thought to myself, like, it really wasn't, I don't know, it just gave me that feeling like I could do this. And I think that all the poetry that I had written had sort of prepared me for leading into that. So my first 2 books were romance novels.
Oh, beautiful.
The first one, it was really nerve-wracking having a husband and doing it. It was like, I was like, don't read it. You don't want to read that part. You don't want to read that part. And he's been the most supportive person. He's read everything. He reads everything. And it doesn't matter what it is. He's just really positive and supportive, thankfully. But in the first novel, everybody liked the male character so much. They kept asking if he was a real person and would I keep writing, and is there a sequel? So I wrote a sequel for that one. But then I wanted to sit back and write something that I wanted to go back to the beginning, to that healing process, how could I help others again?
Yeah.
So I'd given a novel a shot creatively, and it was fine, but it still wasn't where I wanted to be. So I decided to pull from bad experiences that I had and how could I turn them into positive. So the book that I wrote was about a gang rape that happened before I was married, and it was extremely hard to write about, but it was incredibly healing, and I really wanted it to be something that other people had gone through could help heal them. So all of my books from then on have been personal experiences, my father dying, a lot of different things happening, and turned into novels with, my fans know that all of my books have a big twist at the end. So that's sort of to be expected. Oh, what's going to happen? I know this isn't right. You know something's going to change up at the end. It's just how I've kind of become a writer. And
I love that. That's your style.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to change it up. but it's incredibly hard. I try and hide things. I also try and write really poetically as well. I want people to feel like they're in the story, like they can feel
Mm,
themselves in that room. They can feel what the carpet feels like, and what everything feels like to be in there. Because my biggest frustration with writing is that it's words on a page, and I know when I read I feel like I'm there, but
yes.
I wish there was some way, like music, the way music makes you feel like it takes you to another place. I wish there was more elevation with
Mm.
writing, and I don't know how to get there yet. So there's still a lot of things that I'm trying to achieve, and I'm trying to push myself further. And I don't proclaim to be a good writer. I never will, but I love it, and I'm constantly improving and constantly trying to push boundaries and break habits and find new ways of um, sharing my stories,
I
basically.
I think that with that mindset, you already are a good writer. I think
Mm,
being a good writer is not a stationary point in time. It is
mm,
definitely an attitude of growth. Because you can be a fantastic writer in the 90s, but then when you look in the 2020s, that writing is very dated. So if you aren't looking at all of these bits and pieces that continue to grow your writing and strengthen it, to progress it, to try new things, to break new forefronts, without that, you really just kind of stagnate in the one spot.
yeah, and it's
And
funny though, because in the industry you're told so many things, and this is the path that
mm,
I've been on. I've always been told and advised not to switch genres. It's going to be bad for your career. But if if I did that, I wouldn't be writing what I love, and I wouldn't be writing for myself, and I wouldn't be improving because I wouldn't be honest with myself. And a few of my clients have done that, and I've told them, like, take me as an example. You need to do what you love and what your heart tells you what to write about.
yeah,
Your fans are going to follow you no matter what. Like, yeah, I know that they love the big twist at the end of mine, but I'm sure that they'll love whatever I do next, because
I,
it's still going to be your essence in the book. It's still going to be you.
it
So,
it's definitely it's tricky. If you
yeah.
fostered I think that's the difference between true fans.
Mm,
So there's a list that I remember hearing that readers are series loyal first, then they are genre loyal, then they are author loyal, which is why
yeah.
when I've got just up here, I've got about 15 of the Dresden File books,
Mm-hmm,
by Jim Butcher. And it's fantasy detective noir sort of stuff.
mm-hmm.
But he has a high fantasy series, and I've never touched it, and I've never had an inkling to touch it because I'm
Yeah.
not author loyal to him.
Yeah.
I was barely genre loyal, but I was series loyal.
Yeah.
Um, but I think when you foster that relationship with your readers, when you
Mm,
develop them, and you nurture them into those true fans and those raving readers, they do
mm.
follow you because the genre that they're after is you. It's not
Yeah.
it's not the genre you're writing in anymore.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that will read all the Jim Butcher stuff on one side and his
Mm,
high fantasy on the other. So they will read all of the Terry Pratchett stuff, not just the Discworld things.
yeah.
Yeah, they the Stephanie Meyer fans. They'll read
Mm,
Twilight and they'll read her Host series. So
yeah.
they start to break out of their series because they've been nurtured enough to be author loyal, but it takes
Yeah.
time to get them to that stage. And it sounds like
Yeah.
that's what you've done.
It's not like acting. You'll follow the actor, whatever role he takes.
Mm.
You yeah, for example, Batman coming from being a vampire to moving into Batman, you do
Yeah.
have to adjust yourself to, getting out of that mind frame. But I don't have a big online presence. Like I was saying early on, I'm pretty old school, and I'm not one to be like getting into the whole branding and online presence. And so first of all, I don't have time because I'm either working or writing, or I've got children and things going on. But second of all, I've always felt like the writing should just speak for itself. I don't,
I think so too.
I don't, yeah, and my following it's not in the millions, it's in the hundreds of thousands, but they're organic. They've been there from
Yes,
the beginning, and
that speaks
um,
volumes.
yeah, like I'd rather have that that really loyal group than be out trying every day, trying to top a video. And hats off to people that can do it, because it's a lot of work, you know, and it's incredible that we have that platform now. We didn't have it when we were younger, but
Mm,
building that into your life is it's a challenge,
there's a
especially
lot to
for,
it.
yeah, us that chose to have more than one child. um yeah, so that's something that I haven't really been focused on, and I know that I probably should do more of, especially because I partnered with Lulu in the US. But yeah, I just, at the core of it, it's just love writing. I
Yeah.
just love writing. I just love helping people achieve their dreams of publishing, and what I know I want to share and um, advise in the most honest way possible. So I think it was 19th book or 18th that I wrote, Write, Publish, Repeat. Just everybody kept asking me,
I
how do you
have
do it?
that one here somewhere.
Oh, do you? Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got it here somewhere.
Amazing.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I wrote it because everybody just kept asking, how do you do it with kids? How do you do it with disabled kids? How do you do it with running a business and everything? And I just thought, well, I've got all this information, and a lot of people had input. If you've read it, you would know Ingram, Lulu, a few of my clients, is even OPSM, who, because we talked about, that switch from ebooks to writing and eye care and like everything that I could think of
mm,
to help writers get to where they need to be. And it was just an incredible, really incredible journey. To be honest, I really didn't enjoy the process because all I was thinking about were my characters and
yeah.
not being creative. But it was really important for me to have done it, and that's the one that's flying off the shelf, because people want to know the things that the industry just don't want you to know.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's such simple things, and I've always been a believer in knowledge sharing. That's how you help and raise other people up, especially women, especially special needs,
Mm,
or remote communities. And I've been
hmm.
asked to go and speak at the local high school as well, because they're having like a career advising day, and just being able to help people um, be independent with their career, how to make money, how to manage their own career through writing, because so much has changed from even just 20 years ago. Like,
Oh,
yeah, you
100%.
don't keep, yeah, especially with print on demand, and not having to have all your books under your coffee table or your dinner table, and
Or in the boot of your
stuff in the
car.
warehouse and all of that. Like, people still think that's how it's done. So
Yep.
unless you know, then you don't have access to that, yeah, to that avenue of success. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm passionate about mainly. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds like so many authors that I speak to, they abhor marketing. But they say, oh, I would only do things that I feel like are authentic to me. But it's kind of like they don't know themselves. They don't know why they're writing. And you have completely cinched that. You've got that in your grasp. And that is why people are
Yeah.
gravitating to you so naturally. It's got
Yeah.
like you can dismiss the word marketing entirely when your message is so solid and your purpose is so straight.
Yeah.
It's so powerful that you can just walk out there knowing exactly what you're doing, and that's why your books and your following have grown so well. Um,
Yeah.
and people, please, audience watching and listening, don't forget this took 30 years. So it's 30
Yeah.
years of discovery, of going through
Yeah.
life and experiencing life in good and horrific forms. Um,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
takes
my
you
way is not everybody's way, and
no,
a lot of people do not want to touch self-publishing because there's still a very big stigma around it or on it. But there's a way of using self-publishing to get published. And I think that's the key that people don't fully, not so much understand, but aren't comfortable with yet. So being old school myself, I get it, but just knowing how to navigate that and giving people the option, making sure that everybody knows all of their options, because yeah, the worst case scenario is someone looking back and saying, well, I wish I would have done it that way.
Yes.
Just arming people with that knowledge. And that's why I'm really excited about being at the Writers' Festival, because there's so much for me to learn from everybody else. And it's more so about what path they choose and what chose and why they chose it. You know, the reasons behind all of that are really fascinating to me. Everybody's different. And
yeah,
I mean, my path did take 30 years. I'm sure that there were a lot of quicker ways to have done it. But that's, you know, things that I can take and then offer to my clients as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing day, I think.
Oh, it's going to be extraordinary, and it's going to be even better because you're there with us. Oh,
No,
I'm
thank
so
you. And even just
excited.
hearing the things that you say, like, you know, because you're in that environment, like the only time I get to be in that environment is when I go to New York or Chicago for BookCon. And hearing you talk the way that you are, even just your perspective on my career is really, I don't know, it's really heartwarming. So I'm going to New York in November because I'm going to 20 Books. It's called 20 Books Vegas. So I'm
Yes.
going
Oh
to
my
Vegas
gosh.
first.
I really want. All right. Oh, I've been following them
Because BookCon
forever.
has finished. They closed it down with the pandemic. So BookCon is no longer, it's like Comic-Con, but for authors and publishers. And that was
Yeah.
incredible.
No, but for everyone watching, 20 books to 50K is one of the most phenomenal Facebook groups that you can ever be a part of as an author. And
Wow.
they're the people that run the 20 Books Vegas. So just, I would love for my goal when I started the Writers' Festival and by joining the Chamber of Commerce in the first place was because Logan doesn't have a succinct publishing industry. Australia barely has a literary face to it, but we have so many people here that are hungry for books. And we have so
Yeah.
many stories here that need to go international. Like we
Yeah.
are creative, problem solving, and prolific authors, writers, and
Yeah.
storytellers.
Yeah.
It's in the blood of the nation, it's in the
Yeah.
blood of the people that have come here.
Mhm.
It's an absolutely phenomenal space, and it's a crime that our stories aren't as widely spread, and it
Yeah.
feels so difficult for the publishing
Yeah.
industry to get a foothold in the country.
Yeah. But I
So to
think the confidence will come when we do come together. Like what you're doing is
mm,
phenomenal because
oh,
there, you know, not safety in numbers, there's confidence in numbers.
yes,
And, you know, people see other people doing it, and especially Black or women. My husband is Black American. And so there's a lot of passion for me in terms of, you know, remote community and that area. Um, but yeah, I was discouraged in Australia early on
mm,
because I was seeking before before festivals started happening. I was seeking group um, enthusiasm, lack of a better word, and so I would go to writers groups, and they'd be in these weird places, you know, down alleyways and in little warehouses. And every time I went to them, I was so full of eagerness and passion to write. We do these little activities, and I distinctly remember the day that I said I'm never going back because um, there was this group of people, and we all had to write a topic on a piece of paper and put it in a hat. And it was mixed up, and we all pulled it out. Oh no, we pulled one out, and so everybody had to write something about this topic. And I was just overflowing with creativity. And so my
yeah.
page was super long and I was really excited. So we all read it out. And after I'd read mine out, one of the writers turned around and said, "Did you write that before?" Or like, you know, but it was in a way that was derogative. Like it was like, oh, you basically wrote that before. And I was
Like
so
accusing you of cheating.
disheartened. Yeah, like I was so disheartened because I was
Ah,
seeking other passionate people, and the only um injection I get of that is overseas.
yeah,
So coming to the Writers' Festival is going to be the first time I'm seeing Australians immersed in this
yeah.
and coming together, and just, yeah, it's just going to be a pool of knowledge sharing and creativity. And like, you are incredible for having done this. Like, it is
I,
just what we have needed. And
I
that in
have to,
itself, like, what I'm
I,
doing is like a grain of sand compared to the doors that you're opening for other people, giving
I,
them, yeah,
I
that
think
confidence to see everybody doing it. And yeah, it's,
you,
yeah, you're amazing.
you make me blush. I don't have any foundation on today.
No.
um, your knowledge in particular is going to be so excellent to have at the festival this year. You
But
have a
do you think that
journey.
they might be, do you think that they might be looking for more specific,
I
like
think just
mainstream
knowing,
publishing sort of advice? You
no,
know?
no, I think what you've done is the journey that most authors wish they could take.
Okay.
Most authors want that creative freedom.
Mm.
And a lot of people just want the validation of, I have a book deal with Dymocks. Um,
Yeah.
and they want to know that their work is going to naturally gravitate away from them. So they want to know that they can write that book. That's the drop in the water, and that it will ripple out the same way that yours is done. So by being able to talk with you, and I find that so I have a very relaxed writers group the last Friday of every month where we just come together, have hot pot in onesies, or have a swim, and we basically just shoot the shit about writing. And we will sometimes read out trashy fan fiction that we wrote when we were teenagers, or we'll read out
I
trashy
love it.
erotica that we're writing now,
Yeah.
and we'll set challenges sometimes, that sort of stuff. So it's nothing formal at all. It is writers games,
I love that.
and it's all about, but in the last 2 years, 2.5 years when it's been running, the quality of the writing amongst the people that have been going just for fun has been extraordinary.
Yeah.
It has elevated all of our writing because we played writing games, because we
Yeah.
played word games, and because we started to show a different perspective in things. And
Mhm.
your perspective is going to be so valuable for the writers in Logan this year. I'm so
Yeah.
excited that you'll be coming
Oh,
along, Lynette.
oh, that's great. I'm super excited. So yeah, thanks. I mean, thank you for allowing me to be there. I'm very nervous.
Absolutely. I You'll be on a panel, so it will be nice and easy, not making everyone talk by themselves this year.
Yeah,
So you'll have friends, and you will have
yeah,
people that have different perspectives from the publishing industry in all different
yeah,
areas. It's going to be a
yeah,
fantastic time, and I can't wait to see everyone up on the stage. It's going to be
yeah.
amazing.
It's
Ah,
gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be incredible. So yeah. First signing next weekend, and I think that might help a little bit with being at the Writers' Festival. But I'm a big believer in doing what makes you feel uncomfortable in order to grow. So as
push that
nervous as
comfort
I
zone.
am, it's, yeah, it's going to be really rewarding. It'll be fantastic.
You're going to do a great job. You will all be able to see Lynette on the 9th and 10th of June. So that's 2 months away, nearly precisely. And we are going to
Oh, the
have an
10th of June is
amazing
my
time.
birthday.
Oh, you have to come now and say happy birthday to
Yeah.
Lynette.
Yeah. 39
uh,
still though.
yeah, 39 something.
All the way.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Make sure you book your tickets. And of course, if you know anyone that cares about the literary community and would like to sponsor speakers, please throw them our way. We would love to have them and help our local businesses as well as our local authors. Thank you so much for joining me today, Lynette.
Thank you very much.